ready?
Go ahead.
You guys good?
Yes,
Yep.
Okay. Thank you guys for coming again this morning. I'm happy to report that I just stepped off of an airplane that the Civil Air Patrol was good enough to bring down to take me up to really be able to assess the damage from the air. And first of all, I want to confirm that the fire is completely under control now. It's not completely out yet. There are a few hot spots, but we expect those to burn for a few days. There are some haystacks and some different manure piles and some different things like that that we just know are going to burn for a while. I was able to have a pretty good definitive look from the air at really the size of the fire, and I'm estimating pretty comfortably that there were about 24,000 acres that were burned. The majority of that has most of the soot and what you would expect to see from a fire has already blown away. So one of the biggest problems we're having now is blowing sand, actually. And although the wind right now and the wind this morning has not been terrible, thankfully, if the wind kicks back up, which we're on the eastern plains, it's going to, that's going to be as big a problem as the fire itself was. And certainly in terms of the amount of monetary damage, that will make a big difference in actually how much monetary damage we end up with. I can confirm that we are still only at the two farmsteads that were completely destroyed. My deputies were able to visit with the owners of those places, and they are at Yuma County Roads M and 31 is a farmstead owned by Florence Pletcher. That is a complete loss. And Dwayne and Lucy Easton, their farmstead at County Road 26 and M, it's a complete loss as well. Past that, there are likely going to be reported throughout the day, you know, more insignificant damage, I guess, or minor damage to outbuildings, barns, sheds, things like that, but there are no other residents that have been lost as a result of this fire. Again, we want to really show our appreciation and gratitude for all the firemen who worked so hard on this fire. There were 9 volunteer fire agencies from Yuma County that worked on the fire. Every fireman in this area is a volunteer, and they're not getting paid to put their lives on the line to help other people out in their properties. So we can't be any more thankful for them than we are. In addition to that, there were another 4 agencies that were on standby for us this entire time as well. And thankfully they were, because during the biggest part of this fire yesterday, they actually helped out with fighting 2 other fires that had started at the same time. So again, this is just an example of why I'm proud to live in this area. We were all able to pull together and pool our resources and be able to fight what could have been much worse than it ended up being. We still don't have the final count, the final tally in terms of damage or lost livestock. Farmers and ranchers and their friends and neighbors are in the process of trying to round those animals up as we speak now, and we'll be able to report on that at a later time. I'm not confident that we'll be able to come up with a final damage number, I guess, in terms of monetary value for quite a while, just because, again, I think that the biggest losses or the biggest expenses are yet to come. And again, those are things that, you know, this is a very tight-knit community, and I'm guessing it's probably a safe bet that there, as many firefighters as were out there fighting this fire yesterday, there were probably even more farmers and ranchers and friends that had their tractors and shovels out helping their neighbors out. So, you know, that causes some safety concerns and some issues all by itself, but it's one of those things that we're not going to be able to avoid in this area, and I'm actually pretty proud of that. So I'll take any questions that anybody has at this time. Go ahead.
There were 3 firefighters that were injured on Sunday. Can you give us an update as to what those injuries were, what their conditions are now? What's going on?
I can update it to a limited extent. I have not spoken to those firefighters or their families personally. And so I'm not going to release their names. I've heard that they've already been released, but I haven't talked to them personally, so I don't know the extent of their injuries. As soon as I find out and get permission from them to do that, I will certainly release that in a press release. But obviously, I will say that 2 of the 3 firefighters that were injured initially are still in the hospital. So they're obviously their injuries are obviously more serious than was originally reported anyway. So they are certainly considered heroes already, and we wish them a speedy recovery.
Talk about your thoughts yesterday. What went through your mind? I mean, the pictures and the sight of that smoke was just incredible. I mean, were you concerned? I mean, that this could really go at Eckley?
Well, obviously I was concerned. Yes, that's the reason why why the town of Eckley was evacuated. I have to say that we've been asking for a drink out here for quite a while. So it's unfortunately, that's just part of living in this part of the country, that when it gets dry, this is going to be one of those risks that we take. So I guess fortunately, unfortunately, however you want to look at it, we were prepared for something like this to happen. And because of that, really, as you looked around at everybody that was participating in fighting the fire, it was, I'm proud to say that everybody was really going about it in a pretty business-like manner, which is a pretty significant thing to say out here, I think, because we all know these people whose places were in danger, and they're our friends and they're our neighbors. So it's the potential is certainly there to act with some emotion, and I'm sure that was an extra motivating factor. But again, we were prepared for the probability of something like this to happen, and unfortunately, if we don't get some moisture, we're going to have to continue fighting fires like this. And again, yesterday, the wind is just what exacerbated this so much.
Any idea of livestock loss?
Not yet, not yet. We've had reports that there is some, but to what extent, we just don't know that. I expect that we will get some of those reports, but we don't know at this time.
Cause?
Sorry?
The cause?
To the livestock?
No, the fire.
It's still under investigation. It's likely, I'm willing to say that it's likely that it was caused by an electrical spark from something. That's still under investigation, so I won't release much more than that right now. But that's something we're certainly interested in figuring out. Yes?
Would that something be a down power line, or I know you don't want to go there, but I mean, that's the obvious wind.
I'll not say at this time.
You mentioned that you had some hay piles burning. How deep are they? Are they still in individual rolls? Are they pretty big stacks at this point? Like a couple days more burning, or? Probably.
That's kind of just how those, when those start on fire, that's kind of how we just kind of let them burn.
Right.
If we had, if we were confident that the wind was going to kind of stay still, one of the strategies is to try to, spread that hay out a little bit so it will burn faster. There's really two ways of thinking about that. One is most of the fuel that has already burned is gone, and there's nothing else to start on fire. At the same time, it's, again, as we saw yesterday, the wind can really pick up in a hurry. So that's a firefighter's decision, and I'll let them make it. But and in terms of whether it's individual bales or large stacks, there's probably some both. I really don't know, and I couldn't tell from the air either.